This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
Hey, really quickly before I get started, nothing is changing with the current programming and shows that I do here, the Dollemore Daily, my podcast, and those videos that usually post over the weekend. Nothing's changing, but I'm adding one thing. A limited series run of a new show here on YouTube and podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. And it's a review of the 2008, I know, very topical, very, very current, the 2008 miniseries on HBO, John Adams. Me and a great friend of mine, Ian Brinksman, are bringing this to you. We've got a couple episodes done, very fun, not just strictly the history and kind of a dry reading of it. It's me, so you'll know what you can expect. It'll be a little irreverent, it'll be informational, it'll be some laughs. It's a good time. The very first video, episode 1, posted today at 2 p.m. Please make sure you check it out. Give it a listen. Go subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you find podcasts. I would appreciate it. Consider it a personal favor. You know, there's another personal favor that I think I'd like, and that's for the media to stop being complicit in the fascism of Donald Trump. How's that for a segue? This both sidesism, this tendency, this compulsion, this addiction to attempting to act like there's no explanation. It is just inexplicable why America is so divided at this point in time. Kristen Welker from Meet the Press over the weekend gave this bizarre intro to a segment where she talks about the troubles of Donald Trump, the division created by Donald Trump, and then makes this statement here that, and this is a reminder that we are covering this election against the backdrop of a deeply divided nation, as though there's no reasonable explanation for what this division could be. The media is failing us. They are leading us. They are lulling so many Americans, millions of Americans, into this false thought that, well, this is just politics as usual. This is just normal, run-of-the-mill stuff here. And it is not. We face an existential crisis in this country. Our democracy, our very democracy, hangs in the balance. Donald Trump himself and his cadre of insurrectionists and insurrectionist sympathizers are ready to fundamentally change our society, our culture, and our way of governance. They want to end democracy. They attempted it in the lead up to the insurrection. They certainly attempted it on the insurrection. And even after the insurrection, we saw attempts. And now the media, even people that would consider themselves liberals or Democrats or whatever, are bending over backwards to try to appear as though they are objective. And when in doing so, they ignore the clear truths on the ground while being overly fair to an absolute maniac and lunatic, Donald Trump. Watch this moment from Meet the Press on Sunday.
Meanwhile, this week, the former president stepped up his attacks on the judge and his family in the New York hush money case after that judge imposed a partial gag order on Mr. Trump less than 3 weeks from the April 15th start date in that trial. And now Trump is asserting that none of the trials should, quote, take place during my campaign, falsely calling the criminal proceedings election interference. It is yet another reminder that we are covering this election against the backdrop of a deeply divided nation.
Who could it be? What could possibly be the cause of the present situation of our deeply divided nation, Miss Welker? What could it be? It's a real head scratcher, is it not? As you talk about Donald Trump attacking the judge, you didn't mention it, but he's also posting photos of the judge's daughter, who has nothing to do with this case whatsoever. And he's endangering the life and well-being of someone disconnected from his current troubles that have been brought on by himself. And the media, Kristen Welker in this case, but she's not alone in this dysfunction. She's not alone in squandering her constitutional protection The only occupation listed as protected in the Constitution of the United States is in the First Amendment, and it's the press. And this is what they do with it. They both sides it as though, well, we only have two political parties, so we have to treat them absolutely fairly. And then in saying that, in asserting that, they don't treat them fairly. They give Donald Trump and they give Republicans chance after chance after chance, fair shake after fair shake after fair shake, when they are trying to destroy the country. They are the party of white supremacy, the party of rampant, disgusting bigotry and racism and hatred. They have spurred Nazis to march across the country. And Kristen Welker's like, but we're divided. Who knows why? Who knows? This is why, didn't think I'd do this, but this is why independent media is so important. This is why people who are in my space, in my genre, on this platform are critical, not only to call out the jackassery of mainstream media outlets like NBC. Yeah, I'm not fond of the saying that so-and-so would be rolling over in their grave if blah, 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 because we don't know. But it seems to me they are absolutely denigrating the good name of Meet the Press and what Tim Russert built there years and years ago before his untimely and tragic death. Giving the show to Chuck Todd. Before him, it was the other goof who went on to CNN, David Gregory, I think. And now Kristen Welker carrying on the tradition of disrespecting her constitutionally protected duty as a member of the free and fair press by not treating Republicans fairly. Fairly doesn't mean nicely and gingerly and delicately. Fairly means fairness. Justice, even when you're convicted in a court of law, is fair. And she's failing here. Failing her profession, but more importantly and more dangerously, failing the American people. I'd love to know what you think about this. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. If you appreciate what I do in this independent media space, please consider supporting this work, helping produce this work for $2 a month. Click that join button below. You can become a channel member right on YouTube for $2 a month. You can also go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I sure do appreciate you. It's nice to be back this week. I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. And as always, take care of one another.